I have been dreaming of this moment for way too long. This eyeshadow palette is literally my baby. It was so important for me to release this one first. This is called the Bronze Palette. I love bronze colors and browns. These are colors that I use. Well, I use this palette every day. I've been using this palette every day for the past 5 or 6 months. Every Snapchat video, every Instagram you've seen me in, it's been this palette. It's been so hard to keep this a secret. All of the makeup artists that work with me know that I'm very specific about the color browns that go in my eye, and I really feel like I perfected it in this palette. This formula is very long wearing and they blend so effortlessly. I use bronzite for my lash line and I blend it in my lash line. I use obsidian to do my eyeshadow liner. If I'm going out, I'll incorporate quartz and goldstone, and I love to put jasper under my brow bone and sometimes as a base. The color orange was very important for me to put in my palette. I feel like orange really makes the colors pop. I've made this the perfect palette for me, and hopefully you guys too. I just love them, and I can't wait for you guys to try. I am so excited to bring Ariel in today to show you guys how to use every single color in my eyeshadow palette to create this look.
So using jasper, I'm going to go ahead and take it on a flat shader brush and place it at the brow bone. Just for a soft highlight, make sure it's really well buffed. I really love these shadows. Like they fall on really nicely onto the skin. There's no actual fallout from the eyeshadow, so you have a smooth application without a mess. Super pigmented. I'm really in love with them. So we've used jasper as a base. I'm going to go in and further highlight her brow bone using quartz. This is a really soft, like champagne-y, shimmery color. It'll just help to pop the brow bone and accentuate right underneath her brows. I'm going to go ahead and apply the same color quartz at the tear duct of the eye to open and separate the eyes. You want to bring this up towards the lash line at the very inner corner. Now using topaz, I'm going to go ahead and lightly take a blending brush through her crease and buff the color to start creating the hollow of her eye at the crease line. This will serve you as your transition shade. Another great thing about Kylie's eyeshadows is that they're very buildable. So you can go from applying it very sheerly to going in and having great depth with the color. Right now I'm just using this as a base to make the other shadow stand out. This is just creating a halo of color around her eye. So I'm going to go ahead with a smaller blending brush and pick up the color Tiger's Eye and apply this right at the lash line. And you're just going to follow that through the crease line and bring it down towards the lash line and make sure it's really evenly blended. You're just softly cutting the crease to create more shape and definition to the eye. I'm going to use that same fluffy brush I used and make sure it's really evenly blended. I'm going to further intensify the crease color, applying hematite. I really like this color because of the amount of redness the color contains. I feel like it brings even that much more warmth to the eye. Now I'm going to go ahead and keep the intensity more towards the outer V of the eye as we want to accentuate more of like an almond shape. So Kylie's a really big fan of orange and she created this color called Citrine. I'm going to go ahead and blend over the top of everything I've done just to bring back more of that orangey tone to her eye and make her green in her eye pop out again. Now I will be taking the color Bronzite and running that closer to her lash line just to further intensify the almond shape that we're creating with her eye. Make sure you create a very thin line, not going past the center of the eye, and getting thicker as you go out. We're going to blend out this line. This is simply going to create a lifted eye shape and give her like a more catty winged eye without it necessarily being a wing. Working with Kylie, I've realized like she's really specific about the browns we use or like the warmth or the tone of the color, and like I really think she mastered and perfected that with this palette she created.
Thanks, Ariel.
Using obsidian, I'm going to go ahead and further darken her lash line. Lastly, I'm going to use the color Quartz and Goldstone mixed together on her lid. Simply another great use you can get out of the product is mixing the eyeshadows together to create a custom blended color. Just gonna buff through the eyes, make sure there's no lines. So now we just finished Kylie's skin. We're gonna move on to the under eye and finish up the eyeshadow application. We're gonna use hematite and run that right along the outer edge of her eye. Use the very end of the brush to connect the edge of the last shadow application we did to the bottom application. Try to keep this color concentrated to the lash line as close and tight as possible if you can. Now taking a clean smudging brush, softly blend through the color to ensure no lines and a perfect blend. Now using citrine to blend through the color that we previously applied, I'm going to take a small fluffy blending brush and run that through the lower lash line. This will just create a warm halo of light around her eye. Some people would be really afraid to use the color orange to kind of blend through their lower lash line. I just think it adds like a little bit of warmth and pops out the eye color. I'm going to go ahead and apply Tiger's Eye using the same fluffy blending brush. I'm going to focus this color more towards the outer corner of her eye. And this will also help to just intensify the outer V and make her eye look that much more almond. Just go back and take Quartz and re-emphasize a highlight at the tear duct of the eye to make sure you open and separate the eyes to get a more awakened look. Something else that's really fun is applying Kylie True Brown K in the waterline as an eyeliner. It's really warm and rich, and it'll be just enough to bring out her eye color and bring a little bit more depth to the waterline.
This is my first eyeshadow palette. I made 2 more fun eyeshadow palettes that you're gonna see before next year, so stay tuned for those. And I cannot wait for you guys to get your hands on this and try it out. Hey guys, this is my purple palette. I've been working on this for the past few months, and here it is. So we have Periwinkle Trophy Stone, Lilac Wine and Dine, Turning Violet, Amethyst, Purple Smoke, and Blueberry. I went back to my 9-pan original. I really wanted this palette to fit in with the bronze palette and the burgundy palette. I really wanted it straightforward. I wanted it to make sense and all the colors and necessities you need to make a purple eye.
The first thing I'm going to use is the color Periwinkle on her brow bone just to pop her brow bone a little. It's a soft shimmery pink with like little hints of lilac. So next we're going to grab the color Stone and apply that in her crease. I really fell in love with the palette. I thought it was just really vibrant, and I just fell in love with like how the color story went together. I feel like the shimmers on this palette too are just a little bit more amplified than most of your palettes.
They just get better every time.
So I'm just going back in and further intensifying the crease so that when I apply the other colors, there's just a background for the other eyeshadows to blend together. So when you're doing a purple eye, in my opinion, there's no really right or wrong way of doing makeup, but I just feel like maybe not bringing up the intense purple all the way up is the way to go so that the eye doesn't look as crazy when you're looking at it in person. So something like this color, the color Stone, is a really good color to blend and have a transition color. So the next color I'm going to be using is Turning Violet. I'm going to grab that with the Kylie brush, Kylie blending brush. I'm going to pop that right over her lash line. I'm going to go ahead and just drag that a little bit lower in her crease, fading more into her actual eyelid.
I feel like it's like a purple nighttime look.
The next color I'm going to grab is Amethyst. And I'm taking a small pencil brush and I'm going to go right over that same color but more closer to the lash line. I'm not going to take it up into the crease. This has a really pretty, almost like grape sheen to it. It reflects like tones of a more blue undertone purple, which is really, really pretty. I'm just going to buff it up as if it's going all over the lid, but I'm going to leave a small transition towards the center of the lid just so that I can apply something else there. Depending on the way you apply these pigments onto the eye, like these eyeshadows, the pigment of the eyeshadow will lay differently. So if I'm pressing the eyeshadow onto the eyelid, that a lot more of the payoff of the color will show up. If I swipe it, you'll get like a really nice dust of the sheen of the blue undertones that come out, which is really good to know for versatility. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the color lilac. I'm taking a flat shader brush and applying it to the actual lid, more towards the inner part of her eye. This will open up her lid and create some type of separation between her crease color and the color we laid down before.
Not expecting that one, were you?
No. Goodness. Kylie has a tendency of messing around with me like this, especially when I'm doing brows. Oh my goodness.
Gotta keep you on your toes.
I'm gonna go back in with the color amethyst and the same pencil brush I had. Just merge both of the colors together while blending here, guys.
You go.
So I'm gonna be using the color wine and dine, and I'm gonna go back in with a blending brush through her crease. And this one's gonna kind of set the tone of like all the purple colors we've applied and just like kind of fuse them together at the very crease of her eye. The colors really do work well together. You could either create a daytime look or a nighttime look, like it's very usable. So the next color I'm gonna grab is the color blueberry. I'm taking that on a flat angled brush and I'm gonna go on her lash line. This is a really interesting color.
I love this color.
And it is, I was just gonna say, it's so pretty. It's funny because as I'm applying it over the purple, like I thought it was gonna read super blue, but it just blends so nicely. It's almost like, I don't know, it really works. And I think it has a lot to do with the blue reflective colors inside the purples. Kylie decided to make all her colors like super cool tone